The National Human Rights Commission has released a dashboard for human rights violation in Nigeria for the month of April 2024. National Human Rights Commission received a total of 19,470 cases of human rights violation complaints in April 2024 alone. The monthly dashboard is born out of the necessity by the Commission to monitor, investigate, and report on human rights in real time. However, the monthly dashboard on the state of human rights in Nigeria indicates upsurge in human rights complaints made to the Commission, which in turn reiterates the need to intensify actions in defending citizens' rights. In the program today, we shall be discussing reports of human rights violation in Nigeria, what it means, and actions needed to be taken by the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, to ensure the protection of all rights of citizens. Welcome to Nigeria Today. I am Eucharia Clinton. Thanks for joining us. Now, joining me in the studio to shed more light on reports of human rights violation in Nigeria is a senior human rights advisor to the Commission, Hilary Ubunna. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you, Eucharia. Good evening, Nigerians.
Also in the studio is a legal practitioner, Mustafa Agbarire. Glad to have you join us today.
Thanks for having me once again.
It's always a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
So I will start with you, Hilary. Before we go into the report, we've heard quite a lot about the report. So before we go into the report proper, talk to us about the mandate of the NHRC, which is the Human Rights Commission.
Thank you once again for having me. And the National Human Rights Commission is a national human rights institution created by the government of Nigeria in 1995 in response to the Vienna Declaration of Human Rights, which urged member states of the United Nations to establish human rights institutions. So the body known as the Commission is a response to an international treaty on human rights. And after its creation by the government of the late Sani Abacha, the Commission has grown from its initial restricted mandate to now a broader and a more robust mandate since 2010 when its Establishment Act was amended. Now the Commission has a broad mandate to monitor and investigate all human rights violations in Nigeria, violations of international human rights law, violations of national human rights status that Nigeria has enacted, and also it has a policy-making law where it is supposed to issue guidelines, issue advisory to governments at the national, state, and local government level on human rights practices and also on policies that would impact and promote human rights in Nigeria. Thirdly, it has a broad investigative function whereby it has the mandate to sit as a court, a quasi-judicial body, to investigate and issue decisions that are binding on all persons in Nigeria. Closely related to that function is the power to award compensation, and this power to determine and award compensation like a court of law is heavily ingrained into its mandate. And related to that as well is that when the Commission issues a decision, it can file it to a High Court of Nigeria, and that decision becomes exactly as the decision of that High Court. And then we are also beginning to see other parts of the Commission's mandate include its powers to ensure that legislations coming out from the National or State Assembly comply with Nigeria's obligations to protect, to respect, and fulfill all human rights. So, of course, the research functions, the human rights education, and other ancillary functions of the Commission.
Thank you very much, Hilary, for that update on the mandate of the Commission. Now, Mustafa, having listened to Hilary, do you think that majority of Nigerians are aware of the activities of the National Human Rights Commission as a place to go to when their rights have been violated?
Yes, thank you for the question. I want to believe a lot of our Nigerians do not know how to enforce their rights. And not only the Human Rights Institute, as you directed the question, even going to the court of law, they don't know how to assess it. People express their concern with institutions, whether that place will be the problem solver for them or is going to add more to their problem. The issue of a barrier in language is there. We don't do too much of our jingles that will make people to know what they would do anytime they are in crisis or a problem of human rights violation. Yes, the media should work with them. In fact, human rights, I want to say, the commission should have a kind of a media or radio, just like what we are having in the Embe, where a man just started to prep something and to ginger people to know where to come to, just like Ombudsman. So that place, you can see that people go there every day because they reach them through the radio programs that are every Nigerian will always have access to. Not all of us have access to phone. Not all of us will have access to television. But if Human Rights Commission can as well help people by creating their own radio, where the people in the remotest area will be able to have access to the information as to know that all these things that Mr. Ogbonna has said are available for them without pay. You know, if you go to a lawyer to enforce your rights, a lawyer may not be able to give you pro bono service. But in their place, you don't need to pay anything. You can even get your compensation and get it quick. In fact, when they do their own decision, like what he said, they go to the court of law to ratify it and make it the judgment against the violator of the right. Okay. So people, I believe that Nigerians do not have too much access to the Human Rights Commission, and they are doing fantastic job. United Nations and so many other international agencies are giving them kudos about what they have been doing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the commendation. Yes. Now back to you, Hillary.
Yes.
The reports. What does it mean to Nigeria?
The report, and I'm happy you are raising the dashboard. Under the Act, the Commission is supposed to publish State of the Human Rights in Nigeria, even to the National Assembly annually. But we don't want to wait 1 year. Human rights cannot wait. Okay. So what we want to do every month, and what we've been doing since December, in fact, we started even with the elections, during the elections, to do a monthly assessment of human rights in Nigeria. Okay. Now, this is not an indictment on anybody. This is, first of all, to raise awareness, like my learned friend has said, to raise awareness about human rights situation in Nigeria, for the appropriate authorities to begin to take action, whether it's the Nigerian police force or whether it's the Nigerian armed forces, or whether it is just a governor of a state. For instance, if you look at the dashboard, there are top 10 states that have violations occurring in their state. And it seems to me that these states, some of them are repetitive. Every month, they are amongst the top 10. So for the state governor in that place, or the attorney general, or the commissioner of police, that is a wake-up call. And like my learned friend also pointed out, it's all about awareness. The only people we capture are those that report to us. But I can tell you that there are hundreds of thousands of Nigerians whose human rights are violated every day, who do not have access to redress mechanisms. And what the Commission is trying to do, you can see a steep increase in the number of human rights violations compared to the previous 3 months. That means that what we are doing is actually working in terms of creating that awareness that my learned friend has talked about, but we need to do more. The biggest room in the world is the room for improvement.
Yes, still on you, Hillary. I look at the breakdown of the report. Yeah. Now it says the total is 19,470 for the month of April. Now it says state actors 5,259 and domestic violence 4,370. Can you talk to us about what you mean by state actors?
So state actors are people with the instrumentality of the power of the state. So it could be armed forces, it could be police, it could even be ministries, it could be NTA. It could be National Human Rights Commission, but once you violate somebody's right, you are a state actor who is violating rights. And most of the time, we know that state actors are the ones that violate human rights. But Nigeria also is having an increase in non-state actors that violate human rights, bandits, terrorists. Okay, so those are non-state actors. And the level of violations they do, you can see, is almost close to that of the state actors. So it's worrisome because state actors have regulations, but non-state actors are not regulated. A lot of them don't even come under the Geneva Convention. A lot of them are human rights instruments are not binding on them. So it is for the state, who is also a violator, to now clamp down on the non-state guys who are also violating human rights. So it gives cause to worry where the number of non-state actors that violate human rights is competing with that of the state actors. It's not as if state actors violating is good. It's already bad on its own, but these are the traditional violators. But where non-state actors are competing with the state actors to violate human rights, then the state needs to do something about it.
Mustafa, as a legal practitioner, he just mentioned the people that are the corporate here, with the highest number. Of course, he mentioned the state actors. We now have domestic violence, violation of children's right, and and so on, non-state actors and the rest of them. Now, what is your take on this report? Especially with the upsurge in the rights violation.
Yes, it's worrisome that Nigeria is having a kind of a rise monthly, more than what happened in the last month. You're talking about 19,000 cases of human rights violations now.
For April alone.
April alone.
Yeah.
So it's worrisome. And number one, let me just commend them again for the awareness. They are telling us that this is what is happening. They are not lying. In their dashboard, this is what is coming up. Yes, we need to work in order to stem it down. How do we do that? The judiciary will have to play a very bigger role. As lawyers, we are also part of the judiciary. Let us talk about NAPTI. We've forgotten about them. What about the National Aid Council? Legal Aid Council. Are they doing enough? These are the institutions all of us have to work, including the media and also all these non-governmental organizations. We have to come up with a policy to ensure that I will stem the tide of the human rights violation, especially non-state actors. See the domestic violence against women is there. It's also a violation of rights of women. What about the right of children? You see that we are populated, the environment is populated by children who don't have parents taking care of them. Of course, somebody have them. You're sending them to go and do forced labor in the market. It's a violation of their rights because it's there in the Chapter 4 of the Constitution. We have about 11 rights that are immutable and are not violable. We call them inviolable rights. They are rights that God Almighty has given to every human being. Right to life is there. Right against, protection against, right to human dignity is there. Right to your own conscience is there. So right to own property is there. If you deny me of any of this right, I'm entitled to either compensation or public apology. You understand? So all these we have to work in order to stem the tide. What about the non-state actors of the banditry? What about courtism in the university, institutions? It's rising every day. You see them killing. What about people also killing the state actors? See what is happening. What just happened in Enugu? Police, a lot of policemen are being killed. That is also a violation of their right to life. You're taking their life, and that life cannot be taken without justification. That justification should be either through the sentencing by the court of law. So all of us will have something to do. We have work to do to collaborate together to fight this demon of the right of the violation of the citizens of Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much. This is still Nigeria Today, and we're going to take a short break to listen to some Nigerians on their understanding of the Human Rights, the Human Rights Commission, as compiled by Thomas Wetere. Don't go away.
I know about Human Rights Commission, but I haven't gotten a case that I can take to be. I hear people, some people that have case, they do take their matter to Human Rights Commission.
So I'm just hearing that from the first time now, so I don't know anything about it.
I will go to court. Not human rights, I will go to court, appropriate court. If it's a customary issue, I'll go to customary. If it's area court, I'll go to area court.
We have an organization that handles that, especially like human rights organization. We have that. We have other radio channels, even at NTA. Because if the nearest one to me is where I will run, the most important thing is that I should know that my right is violated and my cry is heard by somebody. And who will hear my cry? Probably I will go to the media houses.
Well, then I can't really say that I know any agency in particular that I should communicate with. I don't think so.
I'm not aware there is a Human Rights Commission.
I've not had any issue that requires me to go and report, but if I was in that situation, I'll actually go to the police and go to the human rights.
Yeah, I did that. I think that was like about 4 years back. But due to the crowd there, I just forgot about everything. I said, let me just leave it. I believe that I forgive the person. That's what I'm going to say. I forgive because I found out the process is going to be too much. So I just had to understand me. Pardon the person.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is Nigeria Today, and we are talking about the report of human rights violation in Nigeria. And I have here in the studio with me two gentlemen. Now, Hillary, you had the reaction of people there. One of them is what is some of the comments they make there is somewhat worrisome, because some of them said they don't know where to go to. Why some say, oh, we just forgot about it. In fact, I forgive the person. Now, for me, human rights violation, have been underreported. Now, what are you doing to ensure people are aware of what to do if their rights have been violated?
Thank you very much. And there is no amount of education that would be enough to actually stimulate the desire for people to seek redress when their rights are violated. We're in a country where there is this mutual distrust. People don't trust anything government, and take it or leave it, we were established by government. Even though we try to be independent, as our act say we are independent, but you receive public funds, so you are government. So we try to ensure that at state and local government level, because that's where the grassroots are. They are not necessarily in Abuja. Okay, but yeah, there are human beings in Abuja, but we know who we are talking about. So we try to reach people through the various community groups, various community associations, schools. We have a huge program on human rights education in schools. And I can say that this is a huge country, and that's why we have offices now in the 36 states. We're even hoping that someday, in a few years' time, we should have offices even in the local governments, because human rights is a decentralized gift for everyone. Like my learned friend said, it's a gift from God, and everybody should be, first of all, be aware of their rights. Secondly, be aware of the mechanisms put down by the state for redress and accountability should those rights be violated. And we hope that we will live in a world of no human rights violation. But that is utopia. So, but whenever that violation occurs, that is, what do they seek? How can they get remedies? And it was shocking to many Nigerians when the Human Rights Commission paid $500,000 naira worth of compensation to 120 people. It was shocking, because if you even look at the budget of the Human Rights Commission, that is almost like 1/5 or 1/6 of its budget, its annual budget. But we were able to pay because that is the commitment of the commission.
You say $500,000?
Yes, $500 million.
Good.
$500 million. Yeah, sorry, $500 million. Thank you. Okay. $500 million naira that we paid under the NSAS panel. And I also want to commend NTA because of the reportage we enjoyed in that panel. And we hope that we use this opportunity to also continue to ask government, especially state governments that have not paid. You know, I mean, this is a promise that was made by government. And now we see the 28 states, all of them have concluded their work, but a lot of the states have not been able to pay. And unfortunately, regimes have changed, you know. There have been elections in many of these states, and yet they are yet to pay. So we need to show commitment to human rights. And that is when people that you just saw on TV now would begin to rethink and say, really, my rights can be protected.
So, Hilary, before I leave you to Mustafa, there's something one of the respondents said. He said when he got to the office, he said the crowd was much. Is there no way they can do it? Because now we're in era of technology. Is there no way they can do it like, you know, this online reporting and, you know, reporting their cases and all of that? Talk to us. What is happening in that regard?
We even have a toll-free line. So you don't need to come to any of our offices. You can call from Maiduguri, and the toll-free line is answered, and we ask you, where are you calling from? You say Maiduguri. So you don't need to come to Abuja. You will just give you the address to our Maiduguri office.
Do you have the
and yes, NHRC. Okay. So just go to your phone and dial NHRC. Okay. You know, you will see. We have people who are on that toll-free line, and they answer, and some of them even have the ability to resolve on the spot. And then we also have other platforms, Facebook, we have our Twitter platform. But above all, you know, people are interested in, they want to see. They want to come to you and report. So most times, the place even looks more like, I was giving you instances before we started the program, of women who come with their children because they are either abused or abandoned by their spouses. So maybe when the young man saw crowd, it is not, all of them may not be the people who are reporting, maybe children or relations that brought people to come and respond. And
so rather than coming down to the office, you can just dial the NHRC.
Yes, on their phone, on any mobile phone, NHRC.
And what happens?
And then the complaint is registered, and the appropriate, either it goes to the state, or if it is in Abuja, we have an Abuja office, which is not even the headquarters. There's an Abuja Metropolitan Office in Karo. Then if it is something the headquarters will resolve, which is most times is the case, they will come to the headquarters. But most of them don't even need to come. It can be responded. In fact, the person that needs to come to the office is the violator.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, before we go, Mustafa, under a democratic setting, you know, like Nigeria, are human rights violations supposed to be on the increase? Are they supposed to be on the increase?
No, it should not. It should not. That is to tell you that our democracy, or let me say, our democracy is just growing. For us to even know the numbers of our violations, that is the area that concerns me. Those days, you might not even know how many violations we are recorded every month. So that dashboard of a thing is giving us the light where we're going to see that, oh, it's like we're getting to the red line.
And the monthly report is also something.
Yes, it's also good for us. Yes. I can't comment. I've always been commending them for that. So now what we need to do as we are growing as a democracy is for us to fight the upsurge, to make sure that we reduce this to the minimum purest. How do we do that? You have to allow people to know how to enforce their rights. You have to also find a way of taming the possible violators. Yes, let the state, the state actors, like police, let them know. Let them know the law, especially Chapter 4 of the Constitution. If they read it truly, they will know that, yes, the citizens that you are protecting, that you're calling into your own station or into your barrack or wherever, have their right that you should not trample upon. Let them also know that aside from going to the National Human Rights, they have courts of law. All courts of law are open for human rights cases. That is why CJN has every right to do what we call human rights rules, the enforcement rule. And we have that enforcement rule which has been simplified. Yes. See this rule that has in the old days, we used to seek for the leave.
Yeah, you need to have local standing.
You have to have local standing. This time around, you don't need local standing. Yeah. In fact, there is something in the rule that said in the FREP, Fundamental Human Rights Enforcement Rules, that says that your case will not be struck out based on the fact that you did not file it properly. Even if you don't have money, you can file it in the registry without money. So that is to tell you that enforcement of your right is brought to you like a golden, what do you call it, gift. So we need to work as a democracy to make sure that our human rights records are coming down instead of getting up. So that is what we need.
And those that are not reported are also reported.
Exactly, that there is citizen awareness.
Yeah, citizen awareness.
Awareness is also part of it.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. This is where we draw the curtain for today's episode. It was a very big thank you to the Senior Human Rights Advisor to the National Human Rights Commission, Hilary Ogbonna. Yeah,
thank you
so much
for having me.
And also legal practitioner Mustafa Agbarere. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for being part of the program. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also check out this episode and others on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I am your carrier, Clinton. Goodbye.
You know, we also